Welcome to This Week Airlines. Just doing the final checks before takeoff. It's a delightful 10 degrees Celsius, 7:03 a.m. Yes, I have a dirty windscreen, and I forgot that I had to fill up my wiper fluid in my water in the wiper bottle thingamajig. But it is not raining, but spitting at the moment, so I'll be able to use drops of nature to clean my windscreen. Heading to work. Really want to go live talking about this Kiely Rodni story and just haven't been home enough. So I was like, actually, go live and drive to work. You might get stuck in traffic. You might be able to engage with chat at the other end in the car park, all the usual good. And our drive therapy, as you know, is a way of getting stuff off our chest so we can get on with having a good day, not let things niggle us, all that good stuff. Sometimes our drive therapy takes us to the beach where we throw our woes out into the ocean. Headlights are on. Visibility isn't super poor, but a bit of headlight action helps on a rainy day. Damn it, I thought my wipers had stopped the squeaky noise, but no, they still do it. They're new. They're brand new. And they like to squeak. Did anyone ever get shoes as a kid that used to squeak until you kind of brought them in? So anyway, the thing I want to talk about is the Kiely Rodni story and the ongoing nightmare that is of YouTubers and how they're milking this story. Hey, that's how I like it. Cement shoes. Good to see you, Groover. Yep, the stupid world. And today I am venting, so I've wanted to do a live at home, with decent audio and everything else, but my weeks just keep filling up and getting so busy, and there's just things I see and hear, and I can't not comment on it because I'm at where the has ended up since first rolling into the world of YouTube lives by true crime folk back in 2018 with Chris Watts. I honestly didn't think it could get any worse, and boy has it, over the years. But now the Kiely Rodni story, the next person who calls it a case, seriously, I'm going to lose it. And I'm sorry, but I heard a YouTuber saying, well, if you don't like what the channels are talking about, you don't have to watch them. I hate that defeatist attitude. I hate the word hate, as you all know. But that defeatist attitude really shits me. Give people on YouTube and other social media platforms credit for having a tiny bit of intelligence and free thinking. Oh, so do I, Cement Shoes. The amount of speculating about these kids' lives and hanging on every word and picking it to pieces. I worked in breakfast radio for 7 years, and do you know what freaked people out more than anything, especially adults? Shoving a microphone in their face. But these kids have had microphones and cameras, and yeah, let's hang on every word and read between the lines, and this is suspicious. Holy shit. And not only that, but if you are going to insert yourself into that world and analyse everything, you've got to put yourself in their shoes to understand how they think. They're a little hippie community, and sorry, but if you haven't ever hung out in one I mean, like down here, our community is a bit hippie. We think very differently to our brethren in the big smoke. But yeah, ripping all these kids to shreds, and don't get me wrong, it's possible some of them like the media attention, but it doesn't mean every single word they said is some sort of cryptic meaning. Exactly, it's not a case. I mean, oh my God. I heard a few responsible YouTubers saying things like, with the when they pulled her car out and how they flipped it while it was still in the water, and they obviously didn't do a good sweep and they didn't wrap the car and all of that sort of stuff. The people that commented on how bad that was referred to a potential crime scene. Like they were smart enough to heard others refer to that as a crime scene. According to who? And the only latest development because the police, but somebody made a statement that the autopsy results are pending. And apparently that justifies a whole flurry of more 10-hour lives. I mean, the autopsy results have been pending since they found her. Is that really groundbreaking news that warrants thousands of hours of people going live? Oh, what could that mean? The results are pending. Oh, some tests take a while to come back. And who the fuck do these assholes think they are that they're entitled to that sort of information anyway? Look, don't get me wrong, I don't know the laws of California, but autopsy results here aren't just thrown about willy-nilly. The outcome of coronial inquests, and someone like Kiely Rodni would end up being a coronial inquest if it was required to determine her cause of death. We're able to access those results. But things like autopsy results, you don't ever get to see them here. Hey, stop animal cruelty. It is madness. But yeah, the Kiely Rodni case, I've been saying from day one, it's a story. And it's a horrible story. And it's a story involving a 16-year-old girl who died. And I saw, I can't stop tuning into these channels in the faint hope that one of them will be responsible and say, okay, let's pare this back a little bit. Clearly the cops, if they're still investigating it, they haven't said anything. But no, apparently because they haven't said anything, everyone's in on this. All of Truckee is in on this. They're all covering it up. I mean, fuck me dead. How often do people whistleblow and dob people in and report stuff? Just look at all the Karen videos on YouTube. There are people every day that are putting their noses into other people's business where they shouldn't be. But the entire town of Truckee, they had a big meeting and all got together and agreed it would be a huge cover-up? Then you've got people accusing Kylie's mother of hooking up with Jagger. Like, let's throw some criminal offences out there. Hi, Skitty Nonna. There was a marathon cement shoes. I don't do them very often because I'm uncomfortable with the sound of my own voice for too long. Which, if let's be honest, these YouTubers that go live for 8-10 hours straight, how can they handle the sound of their own voices for that long? I mean, irrespective of the bullshit they're spinning, well, sometimes it might be valid and compelling. I'm not saying they're all jerks, but how can they listen to their own voice for that long? Not my comfort zone at all, but there they all are. Thousands of them. It feels like thousands now. Hello, Deb Tuttle. I will hopefully be crawling in traffic a little bit, but those of you who join me when I drive in, you know that there's usually time at the other end in the car park. In the car park, guys, for a nice little chitty chat. Hey, the Beaverhausen's arrived. G'day, gorgeous. But yeah, so the other thing I wanted to mention, which really flips my tit, I did hear a creator that, and this is the defeatist attitude that I can't stand. All these channels going live criticising, I'll use Zavgirl because I think she was actually the one being talked about. Everyone that's going live criticising Zavgirl, like, you know, you don't have to watch it. Like, just don't watch it. If it's not your thing, don't watch it. Now, I use that argument when people complain about a song that they don't like or a TV show that they don't like or even a YouTuber that they just don't like and they just go live saying, that person sucks, I hate them. In that instance, I'm like, turn the channel. Like, you really don't need to get so worked up about something when there's a very easy way to fix it. AB for short. Anastasia Beaverhausen is in Dusthausen. Like, yeah, there's a time and a place for if you don't like it, change the channel. But the people that are going live criticising Zavgirl, for example, and again, there's many of them, she's actually the least of my worries because all she, well, I mean, it annoys me that she gets 900 people watching her just, or 2,000 or whatever she gets, watching her just replaying shit over and over again. And I think a lot of her dissecting is too in depth, and you can find all kinds of crazy things if you dig really deep. But she's not the most irresponsible. I'm not a fan, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, she ain't the only one. My point was, it's very defeatist of other creators to say, oh, you know, if you don't like it, don't watch it. No, people are watching shit and calling it out for how fucked up it is. And I'm sorry, but we need people like that on YouTube because it's getting ridiculous. And I'm not going to be told by some theorising bloody lunatic who has profited considerably talking about Kiely Rodni's story. I was going to say how they keep calling case. I'm not going to be told by them that if I don't like what someone's saying to switch off. No, I am going to call this shit out. I've been on YouTube for 4 years and I've bitten my tongue way too many times. And I talk to my friends in the real world about some of the atrocities of the YouTube world. Not many things. I figure fucking go live, talk about it, because you guys know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, we're all observers on YouTube. But have been an observer, there's no rule whether you're going to love something, hate something, feel nothing about something. Like, we all observe and then we discuss. And I'm sorry, but people calling out bullshit on YouTube should happen more often. It shouldn't be this whole, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch it. No, people are calling out bullshit. There's a difference. And I just needed to talk about that. You haven't watched her since, are you talking Zav? Yeah, I haven't watched her since Cleo Smith. As a lawyer in Australia, I'm very aware that an innocent man falsely accused of abducting Cleo Smith was suing media outlets in Australia for showing his face and naming him as the suspect. And she was doing the same thing. And I was like, you may want to take his photo down and stop discussing that guy. Like, it's one thing to say, you know, as a throwaway comment, an innocent dude who happened to have the same name was falsely accused. But she's actually got his picture up on the screen and talking about him. And also some incredibly racist comments were going on in chat as well. And I was like, yeah, prob's not a good idea to do that. You might want to take it down because he's suing and he's going to win. And he can sue anywhere in the world. It's not limited to Australia. Anyway, I got blocked. Well, I got yelled at a lot by people in chat. I called out a few racists in the middle of everything as well. So you can't even discuss how appalling this is. And they were going, well, he looks like a creep. He looks like he might have done it. He fucking didn't do it. And he was suing media outlets for saying he did. And there she is sitting up. I'm like, probably not a good idea to be doing that. Hello, beautiful scalp. Good point about Summer Wells, possibly. I mean, that's a horrible story. But there's hundreds of horrible, unsolved missing children stories out there that don't get any coverage on YouTube. And these channels that it's for awareness. We keep doing it because it's for everyone's aware Summer's missing and hasn't been found because 50 fucking thousand channels on YouTube have talked about it non-stop. If you want to create awareness, go live and talk about some kid that's been missing for X amount of years who hasn't been found that no one talks about on YouTube. That's what creating awareness is. Being one of many hundreds of channels going live day after day after day about Summer. And don't get me wrong, it's horrible what happened. Well, we don't know what happened, but it's horrible that she's missing. But they justify, we're just spreading awareness. Everyone's aware. I'm in Tasmania. I'm halfway to fucking Antarctica between mainland Australia and the South Pole. And I've been aware that Summer Wells was missing from the day it was announced Summer Wells was missing. No one in 2022 is creating awareness about Summer Wells being missing. We all know. Unfortunately, we all know. Look at me, I'm fired up. My clients are going to get concise, direct, and slightly profound advice today. That's the sort of lawyer I'm going to be today. I didn't get into Dylan rounds. Kiely Rodni, I'm interested in purely because I cannot believe how far these people are going and how disgusting some of their theories are becoming and how they're just like analysing every element of these teenagers' lives. And all I can keep thinking is, if this was your child, what would you be doing on YouTube? You would be bleating to the heavens about how appalling it is, begging everyone to stop, contemplating suing. I mean, I've seen creators on YouTube dissecting what Kiely Rodni's mother said in that interview at her celebration of life, dissecting every bit of it and criticising her for asking people on social media to back off. What the fuck? And the comments in chat when people are, oh, I never liked her. I thought she was a bit off-centre. She's sleeping with Jagger now. Like, honestly, it's just unbelievable. And it's disgusting. But imagine if it was any of those creators' kids. We'd all know about it, wouldn't we? They'd be rallying the troops and getting heaps of super chats and crying and, look what everyone's saying about my deceased child. We would not hear the end of it. But it's quite okay for them to do it to someone else's kid. It disgusts me. Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, how ridiculous is that? See, good. I knew that there are people seeing shit that's... Because, yeah, that's insane too. The YouTube... I mean, what the... Yeah. And, oh, my God, why can't anyone say Icked Mel? Like, why does everyone say Ick Mel? It's Icked Mel. Well, and if it's not, well, it is. But if it wasn't, why spell it that way? But, my God, if I hear one more Ick Mel. Did you, AB? Yeah, I would too, because I couldn't handle moderating a channel that's doing this. And it was really interesting. I listened to a guy the other day who, I'm not sure what his background is, whether it's like psychology or might even be more honed like criminal profiling or something, but he understands human behavior. And the problem with YouTube, which is I've been scratching my head for years, and I love that you learn something new every day. I've been scratching my head for years, as you guys know, about how so many people buy into this shit and just rock up for, live after live after live and throwing super chats at creators. I'm not the only person on YouTube who's getting vocal about this stuff either. It was actually on Web Sleuths. I mean, I'm an OG Web Sleuths website forum verified attorney person. I've known Trisha and her work for years, decades, in fact. But she had this dude on, but he was saying, because it's troubling her too, that it's such a relief to stumble into a channel that you don't watch that often or listen to, and they're saying the same things that you're thinking. It's like, thank fuck, I'm not just being, it's not just me, I'm not like on my own in this. So it was very nice to join into that and listen to it. But this guy was saying that when you've got this sort of group of people that are all buying into it, it's actually nearly impossible to get them to change their minds. Oh my God, I think I know who you're talking about, Anastasia, and I'm just going to say, I'm proud of you, girl. Is it possibly the channel where we met? Or one of the ones where we first met, but probably had more interaction there than anywhere else? Until you started coming and hanging out with me too. God, we've seen a lot, you and I. And I was only thinking the other day, actually, I mean, we'd known each other for a while, but that music trivia competition, and I won it and gave you the prize. But I was thinking back, like, fuck, we used to have fun. In the middle of talking about all these horrible cases, we used to have so much fun on YouTube. That would be the one. Thought it might have been. I'm proud of you. I actually know another mod from that community who's done the same thing. Way less involved in that channel these days than you might have still been, but it was fun. Weren't they the good old days? Skitty Nonna. Oh, that's a big chunk. I've got to focus on the driving, but just by train. See, we don't have, well, we do have cargo trains here, but we don't have passenger trains. So that sort of departure from this mortal coil isn't very common here. But that's the one thing I've found has been a consistent on YouTube from the very beginning is people not ever putting themselves in someone else's shoes when they've got firm opinions about how a person's acting or what they're saying. And until you're able to do that, you're never going to be able to look at anything objectively and think critically about it. Like, if you are making judgment calls based on what you would do when you're talking about somebody else, it's subjective. And, you know, the people that go, well, I wouldn't have let my 16-year-old child go out into the woods for a party in the first place. Well, who gives a fuck? Got nothing to do with you. You know, those people, the inserters, that have to let everyone know, well, I wouldn't have let my daughter do that. And well, she's not your daughter. and someone else's daughter was allowed to do that. And unfortunately, there was a tragic end to that story. But what you would or wouldn't do is irrelevant. No one gives a fuck. I see people like that in chat and I just think, oh my God, you cannot have a conversation without putting yourself into it somehow, and it's irrelevant. It means fuck all. Hey, Lee without a... Oh, it's not Lee RD or Lee Leigh. It's a Lee. Hi. But yeah, I feel like I'm not going to be an asshole on YouTube because I don't want to get a reputation for that. But it will come across that I'm an asshole. But so many times when I see people saying shit like that, I just want to go, no one cares. Like, shut up. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, oh, I don't care that you wouldn't have let your kid go to the party. You're not adding to the discussion. Good for you. I mean, wow. I would have let my imaginary 16-year-old daughter go to the woods for a party because I went to the woods for parties when I was 16. I'd have a few things in place, a few checks and balances. You're a girl? Well, that's groovy, Lee. You don't have to tell us your pronouns unless you want to. Okay, we don't do pronouns here. Oh, is there some wrench taking drama? Were you a wrench for Zav, Samantha? Oh, I'm looking at you. I'm eyeing you off with a tiny bit of suspicion now. But yeah, I had a baptism by fire when I first found YouTube, and I was a mod for a channel where I had so many conflicts as well and ended up being booted, and it was the best thing that ever happened because these days I wouldn't be seen dead in that chat, let alone in that chat with a fucking wrench. No way, ever. What was I thinking? Mind you, that creator brought together some really ace people that have become real life friends off YouTube, and I will be forever grateful for that. Like, that creator brought together some top people, and we all adore each other and we'll be friends for life, and they're even talking about meeting up, even though I'm the only one in Australia and they're all in the US. So yeah, I'm never going to regret it. And even at the time, I felt I had a genuine friendship with the creator too, but that's questionable now because I got dismissed so easily and with a really scathing little monologue that went with it. But you change your name to do stalking. Yeah, they have forgotten what it's like to be a teenager. But also, look, I mean, this island has only got just over 500,000 people on it. Hobart, the capital, has only got just over 250,000 people. Like, we're not talking a big place. But just the difference in the community where I live, 35, 40 minutes back that way, which is a bit of an alternative, bit beachy, surfy, hippie community, and the way we all function and move together down there, just the vibe of the place is incredibly different to the energy and the vibe that I'm heading towards now. And everyone on this island has a strong sense of community. It's a very laid-back island. Australians are laid-back anyway, but we seem to be even a bit more laid-back in Tassie. But despite that, there's still a massive difference between the pulse of where I live and the pulse of the city. And if anything happened to a little kid down where I live, and people on YouTube were putting all of their judgments and what they would or wouldn't do, or what their kids would or wouldn't do, they're not going to hit the mark ever. They have to think about the community those kids grew up in down where I am, it's a different world. Like, I mean, people were criticising people for wearing white to the celebration of her life. What in the actual fuck? Oh, look, someone's wearing white. That's weird. Why? Why is that weird? I go to actual funerals in bright colours. I rarely wear black to a funeral. I've been to so many. But all of my friends that I've lost along the way, family members, whatever, my mum's funeral, we asked people to wear colours because she was so colourful. One of the songs we played at her funeral was the Seekers' Colours of My Life. We encourage people to wear bright colours. You see it all the time. You see celebrations of life for people that have died in horrific ways, and people are asked to wear that victim's favourite colour. And it might be pink or yellow, whatever the purple, whatever that person's favourite colour is. And how dare these assholes on YouTube think that there's something sinister about young kids wearing white to a celebration of life? And not only thinking it's fucked, but also deciding what it means. Oh, it means they're all in a cult. What the fuck? And again, like, how would these people cope if it was their child? And they had all these YouTubers just being so ridiculous and irresponsible and insensitive to Kylie's family and friends or their child. Like, it just... But sadly, based on what this dude was saying on Web Sleuths, and don't get me wrong, he went down the Illuminati road, and I zone out when people throw that shit into discussions. I don't know, just whatevs. But he had some valid points, but one of them was this sort of group think tank. All these channels where you see hundreds of people rolling in to listen to this crap day in, day out. We've got fuck all chance of changing their minds or making them take a step back and look at things differently. But they're already trapped in this cycle. And, I mean, I'm from the school of thought of, I'm very much into Jonathan Livingston Seagull, in that there's always going to be someone who flies against the grain or tries something they've been told they don't do or they shouldn't do. And I just keep living for Jonathan Livingston Seagull moments where people are like, actually, fuck this. I'm caught up in this crap, and it's crap. And they either speak up, and I know that people are scared to speak up on YouTube for many reasons, but I'm at the point now I don't give a fuck. I think not saying something on YouTube is irresponsible. I feel complicit in allowing this madness to continue. But if people also want to just pack up their bag and ball and leave quietly, that's fine too. It's a bit like when you have a shit meal at a restaurant. There are people that will speak up and say that meal was shit, or there are people like me that just go, that meal was shit, I'm not going back there again, and you just don't go back there again. I don't like causing a scene when I haven't enjoyed a meal at a restaurant. I just go, okay, this isn't going to be a regular restaurant that I'm going to be going to. Not impressed with their food. But one of my best mates cannot leave a restaurant without giving negative feedback if she's unhappy with the meal. And I admire her that she's got the guts to do that. I don't think her style is always polite, but, I admire her for doing it. But I just feel like I'm just going to speak with my wallet and not go back there again. You sort of choose your battles. But calling out fuckery on YouTube, I'm for it. I'm so sorry I can't read chat right now. You can probably see I'm focusing on driving, but I'm gonna have plenty of time to chat when I get to the car park. So if I've missed things that you'd like to mention, I mean, it's good to get things off our chest, and then I can head into work and have a fabulous day. And I will try to do a live soon. And I don't care if it's a 10-hour one to make a point. If we can talk for 10 hours about how insane the community, like it's just gone to another new level. That's why I don't think I can ever leave YouTube, because although there's an element of Groundhog Day, pardon me, especially in the drama communities, or in any community where there's some drama going on, the drama part of things seems to be very Groundhog Day. But it's the capacity of these creators to just keep raising the bar. When you think they can't go any lower, they raise the bar. Did you see what I did there? Up and down in one sentence. Good conditions on the Tasman Bridge today. However, the mountain is completely covered in cloud. Cannot be seen. Will there be more snow? Quite possibly. This island can deliver 4 seasons in one day. Lola Reed. Quick glance saw Lola Reed. How are you? But I'd really like to put the challenge out there, because I like to think we can recruit one person from these wackadoo communities. I think people that are in those channels and just rolling in the hundreds and throwing all that money at the creators, I like to think that somewhere in that group there's a Jonathan Livingston Seagull who's going to go, you tell me I can't do aeronautics and fly like an eagle? Well, I'm going to show you I can. Pardon me. Who might actually wake up to what they're buying into. They don't have to leave in a blaze of glory. They can just quietly exit and never return. But I wish that when they went in there, they would all actually listen to the bullshit they're being fed. That's what scares me. Because as an outsider, when you roll into one of those channels accidentally and have a bit of a listen to what the creator's saying, the thing that shocks me is how nobody in chat is going, this is, well, not nobody. There's usually a couple of trolls, or, well, no, they're not trolls. There's usually a couple of people that go in and call out the BS and they get called trolls. I'm one of them. It's rare that I'm alone in a chat saying, are you serious? Or, I mean, some of them are really harsh. They're like, and it makes me feel pleased that there are people that have got the balls to speak up. But what these people are doing is so irresponsible, and it's so disrespectful to Kylie and her family and friends. And I've said from the start, if it turns out there is an investigation and it leads to charges and it becomes a case based on some information, some facts and evidence, fine, let's talk about it when that happens. But until then, this is just hundreds and thousands of people tuning every day to discuss a story and to be very scathing about all the characters in it, including Kylie. A deceased 16-year-old girl with the world at her feet, super intelligent, super talented, absolutely beautiful, very loved. Died tragically. I mean, if anyone lost a friend at school when we were like 15, 16, you know how much it hurts. It's horrible. It's a horrible lesson to learn when you're a kid. What it's like to lose a friend, someone you love, like of your own generation too. It's very different to like when your grandparent dies. Don't get me wrong, it's horrible when your grandparent dies too, but I hope you know what I'm saying. And they're all monetized and getting super chats, and they're even getting those new super thanks, if they watch replays. Oh, I don't know what you groovers are talking about. Someone's been stalked? Someone's stalking? I'm not the only person he's stalking. There's a few women. I'm assuming you're meaning like online stalking. It's probably Merb. Mummy Ramblings. Merb. Wasn't it Natasha Cooper who started that? Merb. I almost want that crap back. I almost want that bullshit. Well, no, maybe not. At least Natasha was entertaining. I mean, while she was stealing from people, but you can't deny that chick has personality. It may not be your favourite type of personality, but at least she had a bit of spunk. Spunk isn't a rude word in Australia, by the way. We call our mate Spunk Rat Spunky. The creator sounds like a creep. You're in the back. Shit, look at you all in the Discord. I don't go to Discord. Have you noticed? Is it someone that's making YouTube headlines for being a womanizer? I thought it was a YouTube creator. Oh, the womanizer. Is that Dolly? I can't take that shit seriously. The guy's Dolly. I mean, I never could. Dolly Vision, really? Dolly? Like, okay. People get the hots for the weirdest people on YouTube too. Like, I could never understand all the women who swooned over Whiskey OG. I just saw him in his RV one time pissing into a bottle and thought, you are repugnant and you've got a really bad attitude and you're gross. And then all these girls that flocked to his channel and loved him who are now saying he's the nastiest thing on the planet. I mean, they're giving him credit, I guess, that he's changed, but I didn't like the original one. Like, I'm like, oh, you used to be so much fun. I was like, really? When? Like, some of the online crushing is disturbing in itself. Oh, I find him so hot. He's sexy. It's very gross. I don't look for hot men on YouTube, trust me. There are some men on YouTube that I just find the fact that they are on YouTube so much and buying into all the drama and all the gossiping and everything. I mean, is there a bigger turn off than a giant man baby getting all fired up about women on YouTube, which is sort of how I've always pictured Whiskey OG, not going to lie. It's weird listening to this grown man getting so upset about, but you said this about me. I'm like, we talk of these adults. Like, I do not go to YouTube to find a hot man, and I never will. Doesn't mean there isn't videos on YouTube of hot men, but as far as creators go, especially the men that are in the drama sort of communities and get so upset by everything, would you really want to hook up with them? No. In fact, exactly, Anastasia. Yes, that hypocrisy is insane. They were brutal when he was being horrible to Laura. Yeah, but that's so typical of that's where the drama community, it's like short memories. They've all got very short memories. It's very convenient. But when they all started flocking over there, I'm like, this isn't going to end well. Same with the Stop Animal Cruelty just sent me something and it's got, this is a hot guy. I used to enjoy listening to True Crime Rocket Science. Am I subscribed to them? I can't even remember. But that's what I go to YouTube for. It's to listen and hopefully learn something, or for someone to pitch a different way of thinking that I'm like, oh, for other people to play devil's avocado like I do, to get me going, oh, we're at the car park. He must be some catch with all these women. I know, but I swear to God, first thing I say to any guy I meet, are you on YouTube? If they say yes, run. Run far. Run fast. Unless it's Ricky Gervais. Yeah, and that's what I like. I like the channels that make you think outside the box. But this is why apparently, yeah, we can't change this sort of group think tank, unfortunately. But that's why I'm mesmerized by how so many people just tune in, day out to listen to these YouTube creators, and they're in there going, oh my God, you're a genius. You're such a good investigator. Well, really, if any of these YouTube creators you're watching are such good investigators, why hasn't the FBI, the CIA, cops in whatever country you live in, why haven't they been approached to work for those agencies if they're such great investigators? Riddle me that, Batman. You see it all the time in the super chats. Your investigation skills are so good. Oh my God, you are so good. You're onto something. And I'm just watching this shit show going, why isn't anyone, or why are very few people going into the chat and saying, what? Who wanted to meet you and kiss you? I don't even know who you're talking about, Lee. And that's why I love animals too, Scout. No BS. Well, there can be some drama with animals. Sonny's very disappointed that I've headed off to work. Louisa de Figueroa, they would do no such thing. I like your name. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing it very well. I'll just call you Louisa. Yeah, exactly. Run, Forrest, run. Don't look back. Or do an Eddie Vedder. Stick that shit in your rearview mirror and drive away from it and never look back. Oh, cheers. Loving the wine. Thank you. What a great name you've got. Your name sounds like an opera. You did. Good girl, Lee. But Lee, who are you talking about? Did you name them? I mean, you don't have to, but if you had named them earlier, I missed that part. I will be momentarily putting some makeup upon my face, so there will be moments of me not actually being able to read chat, but only while I'm doing the not the moisturizer, the foundation and powder part. He's angry because I want to know, who is this angry man? He's angry. His name starts with D. Like his real name or his channel name? So if you're talking channel, I'm assuming Dolly, because Dolly's been discussed a bit. But if it's his real name, are we talking... Oh, you're not talking about the creepy Australian guy. Are we talking... Is there a Dave in the conversation right now? His channel name, I can't remember what it's called, but I always got it wrong. It was like Masturbating with Dave. Oh, no, but he's great. I mean, there's bad vibes that come. See, this is the thing. People like that, I just go, you're already, like, Armchair Detective's another one. Like, I've always received nothing but bad juju vibes from those men. Like, I don't like them from the start, the way they speak, and even but I must admit, when I went on AD's panel to defend my friend who was being falsely identified and named and shamed on his channel, he was very pleasant, and he did actually apologise to me, which apparently is a rare thing from him, but Nazi tattoos. Nice. But yeah, if it's that Aussie guy, and he's one of the ones that's still theorising about Chris Watts 4 years on. It's gone, it's done, it's dusted. The guy's locked up. Let him rot in jail where he belongs. Hopefully the only time I ever hear that man's name again is to read an article that he's been shanked in the joint. That's the only time I want to hear Chris Watts' name. Oh my God, and hasn't the interwebs gone ballistic about Jeffrey Dahmer? Isn't it interesting, like, you know, that series comes out on Netflix. I don't have Netflix anymore. I'm sort of bummed because I probably would have. I'm fascinated by Dahmer. I know his story very well. It's very disturbing. But all these like crime channels, like, you know, official like law and crime network sort of level, not it's true crime wannabes. All these like witness testimonies and victim impact statements, like the guy that survived, and they're all over my timeline. It's the algorithm is insanely effective. Creepy with a capital C. Armchair Detective is one of those that their lives are so long you just about don't have time to watch anyone. Well, this is it. Cement shoes, because I mean, people like Zav have been doing 10-hour lives. What in the? And they've got consistently got hundreds of people watching it. The same people. Who? Let's pair this back to basics. Do you know what I question when I see shit like that has gone on for that long? I'm like, and who's cleaning your house? And when do you go to the loo? Have you noticed that some of these creators are live for hours on end and they don't go to the toilet? I mean, they might be in their pants. I don't know, but I can't go live for that long without going to the loo. I have wee breaks all the time. Sometimes even when I'm cooking, I have to go, hang on a sec, Groovers, I'll be back shortly. That's huge, Getting On. I appreciate that channel apologised. I don't know what they said that was wrong, but thanks, Scout. Hey, Humanimal. Nick the Technique Vanderleek. What? Who? Is that a legitimate YouTube name? Nick the Technique Vanderleek. He's insufferable. I want to know who that is. That's a great name. That he was wrong. Yeah, I just don't know what he said that was wrong that he apologised for. Oh, well, that's a bit creepy. Oh, yeah, look, people that say shit like that, I just, honestly, Lee, like, just hang out with us. We'll keep you safe. I can't, I mean, that dude, the first time I stumbled across him, the tone of his voice and the way he spoke, I'm like, he's a total misogynist, that man. And I just like, yeah, unfortunately, Australia is a great country in many respects, but it's also shit in many respects. And in one of those respects, like every other country in the world, unfortunately, assholes live here too, you know. I go out of my way to avoid people like that. Yeah, they probably do, Louise. So isn't that disturbing? You like Zav? Groovy. Zav used to do 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 4, now 10. She was timed out by YouTube for going for 12 hours. Oh my God. She called Xanamax herpes lip over. Oh yeah, I don't like what's happening to Xaname, isn't it? And all the other creators that have been accused of murdering Kiely Rodni. What the hell? Dingo Dave. That's mean to dingoes. Anyone that stays live for over 3 hours isn't for me. Well, I was live for longer than that when we did the Depp and Heard shit. Hey, Mandy Hall. They might sit on a toilet disguised as a chair. Nick is rocket science. I call him the technique. I like that. You're clearly a fan. You feel Zav has been subjected to look? I didn't have a great experience on Zav's channel, so, and it was nothing to do with this case. It was story. It was Cleo Smith. He hates women. Yeah, I got that vibe without him even saying it. The other science guy is worse. That is very long. Hello, Ruth, rolling in. It is madness. That's what they call him. Oh, you're no fan. Yeah, Ruth is in the house. Well, I don't know. I think if you had a lover and you called him the technique, it would be a compliment. Just saying. This is my lover, Alfredo. But we all just call him the tech, or I just call him the technique. I'm going to ask my lover if I can call him the technique. In fact, I'm going to ask him if he can call me the technique, because, yeah, not going to lie. There's a teacher in our duo and it's not him. Well, sometimes he surprises me, but I'm not going down that road. Let's get back to talking about YouTubers who've lost their way and all who follow them. It just, as kids, what's one of the childhood stories that didn't end well when you have these blind followers? Like, let's be honest, the Pied Piper. That's what I feel like I'm watching. The YouTube version of the Pied Piper. And instead of leading the rats and mice off the edge of the cliff, they're just going to take their subscribers and throw them off. And it's really going to be up to the subscribers if they were prepared or not. Were they wearing a parachute? Do they have things below to cushion their fall? Or are they just going to be fucked, basically, and flailing, falling into the abyss? Just let me put on some powder and then I can read chat again. I do not like powder on my glasses. Oh, sorry, foundation. But yeah, I'm not working tomorrow. Maybe we can do, although we're doing batshit tomorrow night, maybe during the day. Because there's a bit of a movement. There are some channels that are starting to speak up and say stuff. I'm never going to encourage anyone on my channel to mass report channels, because it's pretty rich to say, everyone go and report this channel for breaches of terms of service of YouTube, when mass flagging is also breaching the T's and C's. So, there's other ways. And I don't feel that passionately that I want to bring down these channels, but I do feel passionately enough that I want to talk about what they're doing and how irresponsible it is, and also just how disrespectful it is. Like, pare this back. A 16-year-old dying is not fodder for hours and hours and hours of lives, and everyone's sitting back taking the super chats for it. It makes me feel sick. It's disgusting. And if just one of those people just went, oh my God, how would I feel if this was my child, or any of the witnesses that are being pulled apart at the moment? How would I feel if this was my spouse, my sister, my parent, my kid? That every single word being analysed to death. No one would like it. So why is it okay for these YouTubers to do it to someone else's family and friends? And yeah, isn't it a wackadoo place, Louisa? We did look, and that's why I'll only ever do really long lives, Scout, is if there's some eye candy. And we catered for everyone because Johnny had some good looking team members, even baby Roshenborn on the other side, even though he was arrogant and didn't feature much, but he was quite cute. Like, if there's a bit of eye candy, let's do it. I like that, the YouTube cult community. I've made some great friends on YouTube too, Lee. Like Scout. I thought you just said tickle me pink. I might have. It is getting silly. Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. Watch a live stream for hours and you can't criticize or you get blocked. But you can't even say something valid like I did with Zav and I got blocked. And I got yelled at. Not by her, but people in her chat and people in her comments because I couldn't participate. So actually, I mustn't have been blocked. I might have been timed out. Or I put the comments under one of her videos before I got blocked. Can't remember. But it was just as an Australian lawyer, seeing a guy falsely accused of abducting a child was suing every media outlet in Australia for putting his face all over the place when she was doing it. I'm kind of like, you might want to take that picture down and stop talking about him. And in the meantime, all the racist assholes in your chat that are judging this innocent dude, you possibly could. I mean, the only thing I really want my mods to ever block people for is hate speech. Anything racist, just blatant hate speech. That's the only reason I want people blocked. I want different opinions on my channel. We do time people out for cheeky reasons sometimes, just so we can all have a bit of a laugh. But yeah, the only time I want people blocked from my channel is hate speech. And I was disgusted at the things that people were saying in that chat, and nobody was timing them out or asking them to stop. It was disgusting. But why justice? Because it's not a case with someone on the run. Until the cops say there's an ongoing investigation, justice for Kiely is letting her rest in peace right now. That's the only justice for Kiely right now, is let that child rest in peace and give her family and friends a break. I can't stand channels saying, oh, it's all about justice for Kiely. Why? No one's been charged with murdering her. No one's on the run right now. There has been no announcement of a formal investigation continuing, an ongoing investigation. It sickens me that they use that as justifying this shit. They're deciding Kiely needs justice, but nobody else is. And again, like with the root checks, begging people on YouTube to stop this shit. You've now got Kylie's family asking people on YouTube to stop this shit, and they're ripping those people. They're ripping her mother to shreds for saying that. There's no justice needed for Kiely right now. Justice for Gabby Petito, 100%. Well, Brian was missing and nobody knew, but it was pretty obvious who'd done it. That's seeking justice. Sorry, creators saying, oh, this is justice for Kiely. Why? Sometimes there's no justice in this world. Sometimes people die tragically because they make big fucking mistakes. But until there's an investigation and someone's charged, there's no justice for Kiely, except letting her rest in peace. Yeah. Delphi's nuts too. Yeah, because wasn't there some announcement the other day that ended up being incorrect or... But that's the thing, Louisa. According to who? People on YouTube who are speculating. I've heard YouTube creators say that the entire town of Truckee, it's a cover-up, and everyone in Truckee is part of the cover-up. Really? You don't think there's a Karen in Truckee who's going to throw someone under the bus given half a chance? I know, exactly, Mandy Hall, and that's what I keep saying. You know, when you see people in chat going, oh, my God, you're such a good investigator, why hasn't any agency that investigates anything snapped these people up? Why are they still sitting on YouTube? relying on super chats to pay their mortgage or their rent. If they're such great fucking investigators, how come no one's offered them a job? Like, no organisation that investigates fucking anything has approached them and said, we need you and your incredible skills. But in their chat, you're such a good investigator. Oh my God, you're a genius. I saw someone calling a creator the other day who was saying some fucking disgusting stuff. Oh my God, I hadn't thought of that angle. You're a genius. Really? We're comparing some fucker on YouTube to Albert Einstein. Really? No one else has thought of that. You're a genius. No, they're fucking batshit insane. They have no facts to base this new theory on. None. There's no science behind this. None. They're not geniuses. They're fucking idiots, and you're all buying into it. There were a few, Louisa. It was not pleasant. And I was just trying to save her from getting sued. Funny that. I was the bad guy for saying, you might want to stop. You might want to take that guy's photo off his screen for starters. And I wasn't a cow about it. I'm always polite and delightful. And if I can throw a little cheeky bit of humour or a little love heart or kiss on the end, I'd do it. I wasn't being a jerk. I was just saying, considering this guy is suing every media outlet in Australia right now for falsely accusing him of kidnapping this child, you might want to take the photo down because on the internet, international borders don't exist. That guy can sue people the world over for saying he's guilty. You're doing a good job, Lee. Yeah, I'd be furious too. I'm furious on behalf of my imaginary child right now, Scout. Yeah, it's my right. The First Amendment, I know. They still don't get that one right. And a lot of what they're saying is akin to hate speech. What they're saying about some of those teenagers and her mother, and even her, disgusting. What is confusing the people is lots. The police do not usually clear anyone in the case of accident. I will check that out, Louisa. I made a mistake on what hide meant. I thought it would block the person till the end of the live, but not from the channel. I was so embarrassed when I found out. Investigations can take years, but here's the thing. Nobody's even announced that there's an ongoing investigation. I hate to say it, but check at TV finding all that stuff on the bottom of the lake, the reservoir, kind of suggests that their care factor is pretty minimal. Like they probably don't think there's need for an investigation. That's why they left it. I mean, that bothered me that they were prepared to leave all that shit there like litter. Hello. Yeah, Summer Wells, another one. I mean, even Gabby Petito, where people wanted justice for Gabby, was still disgusting the way creators handled it. And the things they said. I mean, I will never forget bloody Lynn and Natasha saying that that there were bullets, like she'd been shot. There were these bullet holes in trees and shit around this campsite and that she'd been shot. They were completely wrong. I mean, that kind of speculation is disgusting to me. Anyone who knew and loved Gabby, picturing her being chased around trees and being shot at, like, nah. It's horrible that she was murdered, but you don't need to throw wackadoo theories of how into the mix. That shit upsets people significantly. They would hate it. They would, and that's the whole point of this live. Yeah? We talked about the cult before. Did you deliberately mean incestigators? Because I love it if you did. I think, are you still talking about the Kiely Rodni? But it's not weird if you look at it from a different angle at all. This is the thing this is the point I'm trying to make. These creators are making it sound weird. I'll check that thing out, but to me, at the moment, this is a sad story. The end. Oh, no, you didn't mean, but I loved Incestigators. Yeah, internet justice on their channel for the money. Exactly. Very manipulative. People are bored, but there's other stuff we can do when we're bored other than speculate forever and a day about a girl who died at age 16 and throw all these ludicrous theories and defame everyone in her life, including her. That's not what decent humans do when they're bored. They get a fucking hobby. I'm the same, Sketty Nonna. I'm sure as tiny kids we tried that. I'm bored on our parents, and my mum and dad were like, "Really? We've got a working farm. There's always something to be done." And that's pretty much how I live my life. There is always something you can do. You can do that, Lee. I want you to feel safe. Oh, cheers, Cement Cheese. Yeah, Batshit's tomorrow night, 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. I agree, Louisa. It is. It is. But I think that there's a mindset that all of these creators, and I'm not identifying anyone in particular, but the cumulative effect of so many channels spending hours and hours analysing every single comment, outfit, photograph, interview, whatever, is dangerous because you get this group thinking happening and all this sort of panic and urgency and we need justice for Kiely. And at the moment, the actual facts of the case, there's nothing at the moment to suggest there's even an ongoing investigation. And if there is, it's going on behind closed doors. No one in that investigation is approaching anyone on YouTube asking them to help them. And there's a reason for that. Yeah, that's correct. Cement Shoes, yes. I agree. And that's what sickens me, Humanimal. And if any of those creators had the misfortune of the same sort of thing happening to one of their kids and this was unraveling on YouTube, we wouldn't hear the end of it and we'd all be expected to pick up our pitchforks and go after those channels. But they're quite happy to do it because it's someone else's kid. That's what annoys me. And it's not like there's a million other missing people and cold cases they could be talking about and trying to get outcomes for. We've seen 2 YouTube channels get results. We've seen a podcast in Australia solve a 40-year cold case and lead to a guilty conviction. Like there are people on social media that are making things happen. But these guys, like these lives that just go on and on and on and on and on. And now you've got a whole group of people believing what they're saying is true. And I'm happy to show some of these channels and just point out, I'll play devil's avocado and respond to what they're saying with something based on the actual facts that we have to show how ridiculous it is. But we can't change this group thinking now. It's like it's got a life of its own. It's unstoppable. And people that are experts in human behaviour have said we can't stop it. But if I can at least make one person just question things a bit and go, maybe I have bought into this, maybe I didn't look at both sides. As a lawyer, that's what I'd have to do every day is look at both sides, or look at 3 sides, really. Their version, the other version, and the truth is somewhere in the middle usually. But these channels aren't offering that. They're not saying, or it could be this. They're just saying it's this, and everyone's going, yeah, you're a genius. That's what I'm pissed off about. It's dangerous. Hey, Morgan. This channel's all about different opinions, by the way, Louisa, and everyone else who knows my channel. This channel is never going to be us all agreeing on everything, ever. But if I can challenge thinking, or if you guys can challenge mine, bring it on. Well, aren't you, Louisa? You don't know about Ryan Upchurch saying she didn't even exist? She doesn't exist. Pretty damning thing. That's pretty defamatory. Ghouls and vampires. I've got to put my mascara on. And look, I'm not saying the only thing that I've commented on this story that I thought alarm bells went off was how they removed her car and left all that stuff in the reservoir. Like, I do think there's a lot of ineptitude in this story, for sure. But that opinion is based on Check It TV finding all that stuff and seeing the car being pulled out and it had been flipped underwater. And I've commented on that and said, yep, police ineptitude is definitely an issue here. But that doesn't mean anything more than that information we've got so far. I'm not extending that opinion to the entire investigation's fucked as well. Yeah, you won't ever be here, Lee. We're all about that. Yeah, it is mad. No, real life isn't always a good story, and we're seeing everyone turning a sad story, a terribly tragic story, into an unsolved case. It's not even a case. It's a story. But I can tell from the lively discussion this morning that this will be a good live when I do it, and I might be able to do it tomorrow or even on Thursday. I've accepted that based on these human behaviour experts that changing the mindset of hundreds of people that keep rolling into those channels is slim to none. The chances of us even making them look at the other side or an alternate version for a millisecond is unlikely. But I have hope that somewhere in there is one person who might be like, oh my God, I bought into this. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm going to have a bloody pina colada and look at this from the other side. I mean, as a lawyer, my job, I have to take my client's statement and look at what the other side is saying and see if I can debunk what they're saying to prove my client's case. But I can't just represent someone and only look at their side of the story, ever. And I thought that was human nature, but maybe it's because I'm trained to think that way. But it astonishes me. And it astonishes me that not only are people buying into only one version of events, but they're also crediting these creators for being amazing investigators and geniuses. And it's like, there ain't no Albert Einstein on YouTube. There never will be. You know why? Because the Albert Einsteins, geniuses of the world, are busy doing genius shit. And they're getting paid handsomely for doing genius shit somewhere else. If I see one more person, oh my God, you're a genius. I didn't think of that. Nothing like hyperbole, the hyperbole of the YouTubes. They do. But I don't feel sorry for them because why aren't they questioning it, you know? Why are they just rolling on in and taking everything as gospel? Like, why aren't they inquisitive and curious and doing their own, like bouncing around and listen? There are plenty of channels that talk about this story the same way that I do. You know, there's different versions and opinions. Bounce around and find the one that suits you, that you think makes the most sense. But you just roll into a channel, and because there's so many people in there all supporting them, taking everything they say as gospel, and the one thing they can't tell you is how they've looked at the bigger picture, and this is the outcome or the solution or the version they've reached. They just preach their version. And if anyone in their chat is a critical thinker or playing devil's avocado and saying, hey, couldn't this explain that? They get timed out or blocked. It's an echo chamber. Crazy. I think it's always been the Twilight Zone. I think we've just moved from one corner of it to another. I think the Twilight Zone is gigantic and YouTube just keeps showing us how big it is. Because we're all kind of stuck in a spot going, this is insane. And then up comes a new story or case. And suddenly we're all like, oh, there's another bar in the Twilight Zone that's going off right now. Let's go and see what's happening in there. And that's why I will never leave YouTube. Because I'm fascinated by the psychology of it, the madness of it, the circus of it, the insanity of it, the ridiculousness of it, like all of that stuff. I'm a people watcher and a people observer, but I go beyond just looking at people doing crazy shit. I actually listen to crazy shit too, and I'm fascinated. But I'm also horrified because there are genuine human beings who've lost their lives in the middle of these crazy circus performances, and I keep going back to them and how disrespectful it is to them. When we've got the facts, let's talk about it. Until then, look, it can be a bad world, but I'm at the point now that I really don't care. Exactly. It's people watching without having to go to the mall. Yeah, I'm into it too, Lee. I'm fascinated by it and disgusted at times. And I understand why people do drink the Kool-Aid and buy into these channels. I mean, there's an explanation for it and it's pretty straightforward. It's the fact that they don't try to extract themselves from it or question it, or just wake up one morning and go, what the fuck am I doing with my life? My house is a mess. I don't even know where my kids are. I haven't seen them for days. I haven't shagged my husband in months. All I've done is tune in, day out, and listen to these people who I thought were geniuses because of their unusual and original perspectives. But at no time did I question if any of it was based on facts. And if I had have, I wouldn't have been there for that long. It's the getting caught in that trap and not waking up one day and wanting to get out of it that fascinates me. Go Scout. I love Scout with a bit of passion. Get a freaking life and fuck off. Look at you girls, feisty. See, we're a small community, but we're feisty and sensible. You know what? We're just reasonable. That's all you got to be in this life, is just be reasonable. It's unreasonable to go live for days on end, disrespecting a victim and their family and friends, and pocket money from the masses that are tuning into that bullshit. And I wish we could stop that bullshit, but we can't. So all I want to do is try and recruit one new person into our community who comes from that side and goes, oh my God, I never felt quite right in there, but I bought into it and I loved it and I tuned in every day. But oh my God, I think you're my people, because you actually can have conversations and throw different ideas and opinions out there and respect everyone's points of view. Morgan, we brought the fuzzy. Mel and I changed you. You were already beautiful when I met you, but with a bit of feisty thrown in, you're even better. Oh, I just found some mints. I gotta go, guys. I start work in 4 minutes. I love all of you. I do. And we can always share our opinions in here safely. I like debates and discussions, lively discussions. I'm never going to call anyone an asshole. My mods are never going to time out people who actually just want to be part of a conversation. Yes, we definitely taught you heaps of fucking swear words. We sure did. I hope everyone has a lovely evening or day, whatever you're up to. And Points of view. Good name for. Oh, you're onto something here, Manimal. Quick, copyright that. That's gold. Points of view. But yeah, have a great day or night wherever you are. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, we'll never be the biggest community on YouTube because we're reasonable people. But I've really enjoyed this discussion. I'm going to go and help some clients and look at every side of their stories. But most importantly, wrap them up in a lot of love and empathy because they need it. Because my clients are victims too. That's first and foremost what any human being gets from me. And I just wish people would put themselves in the actual shoes of Kylie's friends and family and realise how much they would hate this if this was happening to them. If it stops one person just from tuning in to that bullshit and throwing their hard-earned money at these creators, then I feel like our work here will be done. Well, it won't be, because there'll be a news story. That little merry-go-round in the circus is going to keep spinning. But might see some of you tomorrow night too for bad shit. And until next time, stay groovy, everyone. Lots of love.